Hi guys, I'm Aubrey Carter, your IELTS teacher. Today's podcast episode number 30, Jessica tells you why the examiner might say stop during your IELTS exam. Definitely check this one out so that you are ready on test day. And also go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz to take our free 2-minute quiz and find out what you would get if you took the IELTS exam today. You'll also get free resources at your level. So go to allearsenglish.com/IELTS quiz.
This is an IELTS Energy Podcast, episode 30. What does it mean if the examiner says stop on the IELTS speaking test? You are listening to the IELTS Energy Podcast from All Ears English. We believe in connection, not perfection, and we are here to show you how to get the 7 that you need on your next IELTS exam. Subscribe to our show and join Jessica Beck, the Examiner of Excellence, and Lindsay McMahon, the English Adventurer, coming to you from Portland, Oregon, and Boston, Massachusetts, USA. Today, you'll find out why sometimes the examiner has to stop you on the speaking test and what it means for your grade on the IELTS exam. On the IELTS speaking test, pronunciation is one of the 4 things that the examiner is going to grade you on. Do you want to know what the other 3 things are? If you do, you can find out now for free in our downloadable cheat sheet. So go right now to allearsenglish.com/evaluation. That's allearsenglish.com/evaluation and download it now for free.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Jessica.
Hi.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Very good. Isn't it funny if we say something in a more formal way, our voice also changes? Like, good morning.
That is really
like it either goes lower or higher.
That is really funny. I know, because I think of myself as such a casual speaker, right?
Yeah.
I like to speak casually, so it sounds weird. So we have to be a little bit exaggerated, right? When we become formal.
Yes, I know. It's like we are acting. We are speaking fancy now.
Exactly. So today we're going to jump back into the IELTS, which I'm super excited to talk about today, about the speaking section, right, Jessica?
Yeah. So, a lot of students get worried sometimes after taking the exam because they say the examiner stops them. Like in mid-answer, they feel like the examiner is just stopping them. So we're gonna answer that question. Why does that happen?
Good question, and I'm sure we have the answer here. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, so let's start with a little role play. Lindsay, would you like to be the student, the candidate?
I would be happy to be the candidate, going for my 7. Thank you very much.
Reach for the 9, Lindsay. Reach for the stars.
Oh, 9. Oh, yeah. I have to, I shouldn't be so, I gotta be more ambitious. So a 9. How about a 10? Is it possible to get a 10 on the IELTS?
It is not, but maybe they'll make an exception for you.
Okay.
I don't know.
Excellent.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some part 1 questions, just very easy little questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Do you have a large family or a small family?
Yeah, actually, I have a pretty small family. Let's see. There's my mom, there's my dad, and my brother, and now my brother's married, so there's his wife, and of course, there's my brother's daughter.
Thank you.
And then there's, but
thank you.
We also have 2.
That's good.
Two
thank
dogs.
you.
And,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little more about your mother?
My mother. Oh, yeah. So my mother is a child psychologist. So she studies the way kids learn and the way they relate to their parents. So super interesting. And, she likes to play tennis. She likes to garden. She likes to hang out with the...
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well,
how did that feel when I was trying to make you stop talking? Was it weird?
It felt abrupt. I felt
Yeah.
like maybe I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Or like maybe my answer was wrong. So you moved on to the next question because you wanted me to get the right answer or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think students feel exactly the same way. It has nothing to do with answering wrong or right. I mean, there's no like wrong answer to tell me about your family, you know? I mean,
That's right.
If you're taking the IELTS test, I'm pretty sure you could talk about your family for a few minutes. So what it is the timing. The examiner has a certain number of questions that she or he must ask you, must get in there and ask you, before the time runs out. So speaking part one is, you're going to be asked about like 3 different topics, and the examiner has to get all those questions in. And if you're a fluent student and you're giving more details, and that's great, but the examiner has to stop you in order to go on to the next question, because that's just their job.
Yeah, that's really important to know. And I can imagine our listeners, if they're in the IELTS exam, they might start to feel really negative. And, you know, as we've talked about anxiety on the test, it's easy to go into a downward spiral with anxiety if we feel like we're just messing it up completely. So this is such an important topic, Jessica.
Yeah. And so that happens in part 1. And then part 2, you have, the examiner tells you to answer for 1 to 2 minutes. You have to give like a little speech almost for 1 to 2 minutes. We say 1 to 2 minutes, but you really should talk for the entire 2 minutes. And again, as soon as the examiner has a timer, like right next to them, when that timer hits 2 minutes, the examiner is going to say, thank you. And that's your cue for that. That's enough. Stop talking now.
Today we're talking about the IELTS speaking section, and there are 4 things that the examiner is going to grade you on during this speaking section. And if you want to know what those 4 things are, you can find out right now, instantly, for free. Go to allearsenglish.com/evaluation. That's allearsenglish.com/evaluation. Okay, so then here's a question for you. This is really important. Is it important for us to try to prepare our answers, you know, as if we were answering that 1 to 2 minute question, or should we just talk? Is it just you're speaking, and then you wait till they cut you off? Or should we really create a coherent answer that is within that 2 minute space?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It should be organized. You are graded on how well your speech is organized, or your speaking is organized. So you do have 1 minute to prepare before you speak for the part 2 topic. So the way you write your notes, I think we'll do an episode about notes pretty soon, because that would be a good idea. But you should take notes in an organized way. So when you do start talking, it has like a beginning, middle, and end. You know, like it's good to tell a story because that's already organized. You know, first this happened, then this happened. But yeah, definitely keep it organized. And don't just keep talking and babbling because you think you have to. It's much better to have a clear, organized answer and stop before you start repeating yourself.
Okay, so it is okay to stop before the time is up, right? That's okay to have that blank space then?
Not in part 2.
Not in part 2. Okay.
Yeah. So part 1 and part 3, the examiner asks questions and the candidate just must answer. And those answers should be short-ish, you know, and very organized, like 1 to 3 sentences for part 1, 3 to 5 sentences for part 3. But part 2 is special because it's not a conversation. It's not questions and answers. Part 2 is just like you talking about a topic as much as you can. So, in part 2, you should keep talking, definitely, until the examiner asks you to stop. Yeah.
Well, that's important to know then. There are very different ways to handle these different parts. They're not all the same. That's really key.
Yeah. Just remember, you know, like any standardized test, timing is really important. And the examiner has a job to do, right? Like that's somebody's job is to ask you the right questions and try to encourage you to give the vocabulary and give the language functions like comparing and giving opinions and these sort of functions. It's the examiner's job to try and get you to do those things. So that's why she or he has to stop you sometimes so they can go on to the next question. Yeah.
Okay, so the point is don't take it personally. Don't think you're doing anything wrong. It's just that the examiner is making sure that they are on target and on track to keep their job, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
That is excellent. Thank you so much for letting us know. This is a really key topic that I'm sure is on the minds of our listeners. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys, and let us know if you have any follow-up questions about this one.
Please do. Yep.
Please do. Okay. So thanks so much, Jessica. That's been great. And have a good one.
My pleasure. You too. See you, Lindsay.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the IELTS Energy Podcast from All Ears English. And if you want to get tips from Lindsay and Jessica every week on how to get a 7 on your next IELTS exam, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your computer or on your smartphone. Thanks again and see you soon.